And we're back for our third game of the day. Back earlier than I anticipated, actually. As typical mistakes in Team Dignitas, they were like horses waiting to get out of the gate at the Kentucky Derby, just kind of banging on the sides, ready to get rolling and jumping out as quickly as they can, not waiting for the official scheduled time. Instead, just getting things going as quickly as they could. TM, much love to them. Dignitas did want to try and get the game in as quickly as possible. The packed schedule those guys have, and obviously probably wanting a little bit of time off on their weekend. And typical mistakes, happy to accommodate. So good for them, and happy to see both of these teams ready and raring to go. Now, Team Dignitas, typical mistakes, 2 more North American squads, and we just saw Dignitas do a great job getting past another North American squad in Denial Esports in our second game as we roll now into the third. Now, typical mistakes in Dignitas are TM's actually ahead of Dignitas right now, if I'm not. No, they're tied up. So this is very important in terms of jockeying for early standings. 6-1 and 6-2, the respective records of those two teams. Whichever team gets the win here will move into sole possession of third place. Arctic Gaming right behind them at 5-3. Then you kind of get down into the cellar. And it is kind of, got to admit, a bit of a top-heavy league right now. Top 5 teams really getting the best of the, beating up on the others. Insight bringing up the rear at 0-8, 0-5 for Pain. Smeagol's 1-2, 2-6 for Meanix, 2-4 for Denial. So a lot of the teams already beginning to separate themselves out quite a bit. And both of these teams right now looking to separate themselves out even more. And the picks and bans coming quick. Dignitas going to get right in their wheelhouse. Lifestealer first pick up. And, you know, talking to guys from Dignitas, they're one of the teams that does continue to highly value the LS and the Druid. They still first pick and first ban both those heroes very often. And the synergy's still there. And I really do think Lifestealer not being played as much or given as much emphasis as he was just a week ago is really, I think that's a passing fad. I don't know that open wounds having its range reduced is as big a deal as people seem to think it is. I mean, and again, you know, it's understandable. I mean, it makes it less viable in more ways, which means you're much more confined within the pick, which makes it, you know, then you look at that and go, well, what about Luna? Luna's probably a little bit better in the offensive tri lane now, and she's a little bit better super late, not as good in mid. You know, you start to look at situations like that, and that's what's leading to, and like PA's really a hero who's picking up quite a bit, got a buff to blur, so she's a little bit more survivable. And
5 seconds
but the
remaining.
LS isn't going anywhere, I don't think. I really don't think so. I'll tell you what, Dignitas lineup terrifies me already. I'll tell you why. Because Fogged, I've seen Fogged play Jakiro 3 times, and I've seen Fogged play Jakiro like 3 out of the last 4, maybe 5 times I've seen Dignitas play. The dude is good at THD, okay? There's no other way to say it. He is a monster on Jakiro. He Ice Path for days, man. Like, you know, and the thing about Ice Path, it's one of those abilities. If you're new at Dota and you want to build some confidence, play Jakiro, because Ice Paths make you feel good when you hit them. They're not really hard to at least hit someone with because they are pretty wide. But a well-executed Ice Path, an Ice Path that, like, you know, is just a patience payoff, basically, when you wait for 2 or 3 to line up, when you have that perfect angle, nothing better than that, and can be absolutely devastating in a variety of situations. And Fogged, one of the best of the business at the patience payoff that Ice Path can deliver. They're going to grab the Leshrac, too. And Shadow Demon's available. I don't know. Nah, never mind. I don't know what I'm thinking. Shadow Demon, when I see Leshrac, I immediately think Shadow Demon. No idea why.
10 seconds
Shadow Demon's
remaining.
actually, let's see, Naga Siren mid for typical mistakes. Darkseer off lane. Yeah, they need a carry. They need damage.
Team ban.
They need damage pretty badly, actually. Naga Siren will give them, you know, once she gets built, once she gets a Manta, Diffusal, tanks up with a heart, she's a damn good hero. But we could see TM taking out the Clock and the Juggernaut. Very nice calls there. Dignitas not going to give away the Gyrocopter, recognizing the typical mistakes needs more damage. But Juggernaut would have been a pretty nice pickup here, I think, for Dignitas, based on how they want to do this. They have the makings of an excellent offensive tri lane, solo safe lane the Druid, then send the Juggernaut mid. What it would have been devastating. DK is available
remaining.
if they would like to defensively trialing the Naga Sirens to the DK mid and the
5
Darkseer into the
seconds
off
remaining.
lane. I actually would really like that from typical mistakes. I think that would be a great pickup for them.
Reserve time.
And Dignitas, looking around their lineup out as well. By all accounts, one would imagine they need a mid, and there it is. It'll be sneaking on Storm. I was actually thinking TA. TA would have been a phenomenal pickup as well. Getting a Blink Dagger up on sneaking. allowing armor reduction to just work well with the Lifestealer and the Lone Druid. But the next bomb, wow, Slarter. And we saw Slarter pick the other day. And Slarter's one of those heroes that he's just so hard to pick in this situation because basically drafting a Slarter, especially against a Druid and an LS and a Storm, means you're all in on the mid game. That's just kind of the state of things right now if you're in the shoes of typical mistakes. You do not have an opportunity to live up to your namesake and make too many mistakes. And what I mean by that is Slarter, I mean, the problem that most people have with Slarter, and it is going to be Ryu on the Naga Siren, so she will likely end up mid as predicted. The problem with Slarter is it's real hard to justify concentrated tri-lane farm on him. He's just not a hero who wants to go, okay, I'm going to go max GPM and just take a game over. Just doesn't work that way. His bash passive is good. Slithering Crush is excellent in the mid game. And Sprint's one of those abilities I often wonder if it'll get reworked, just because it gets so little attention for the most part, because, hang on, we're likely to see some blood. Dignitas revealing their offensive tri-lane, as predicted. And there will be a run off here, as we're unable to catch up. But basically you don't want to play Slarter as a pure initiator and rely on Sprint. And that's part of the problem, too. He needs so much. He needs a BKB. Really needs a BKB. I actually like Armlet quite a lot on Slarter as well. Armlet's a great way to bridge that gap. But at some point, he needs a Blink Dagger, too. He really does. Unless he's just on a... and he's one of those tweener kind of heroes. I actually like Slarter out of mid a lot. He's just so hard to get him in a matchup in mid where he works. I think that's a much more effective use of Slarter than the pure defensive tri-lane. Because, again, defensive tri-laning, you go, okay, so we win or lose by 30, basically. Either Slarter gets a good start, and we get him a Blink Dagger, a BKB, and some other item, depending on what our priorities are. Or he doesn't get a Blink Dagger, he can't really initiate. Looking at their, they really are, they don't have a whole lot of pure out-and-out initiation. They've got Naga Siren's song, but, that Naga song only really works as initiation when you have some other really nice initiation to follow it. Crush kind of falls into that mix, I guess. But, Venge with her swap, Darkseer's Vacuum. Vacuum doesn't work with Naga Sleep anymore. So, they've got plenty of tools in their toolbox. I wonder if they brought the right tools to deal with Dignitas. Because Dignitas is much more straightforward. And this comes down to something that Draskell and I, who I look forward to seeing, by the way. Can't wait to see him next week in Sweden at DreamHack Summer. And yeah, we can see Slarter already taking a lot of damage. He is going to go and spin the Crush Universe without a single point into Rage. And nice shot with the Split Earth from way too. But something we talk about all the time is ease of execution. This lineup from Dignitas is going to be very easy to execute. At all phases of the game. Farm the Bear, farm the Lifestealer, load the Lifestealer into the Storm Spirit, in the laning phase, hit an Ice Path or a Dual Breath. And that's something that teams are starting to do. Dignitas foremost among them. After the open wounds nerf, one of the things that made Lifestealer so damn strong was the fact that open wounds was a great way to set up abilities like Split Earth from Leshrac, for example. Now with that nerf, level 1, the range again abysmal. May as well. It's basically melee range. First of all, again, I said it last game. I think it's a little overblown because LS usually will get to level 3, level 4 pretty quick. And then he'll have at least some more manageable range on it. But with Jakiro in this lane now, Jakiro only needs 1 point in Ice Path. You don't usually take Ice Path for damage. And that's all that you really gain by putting more points into it. The duration is nice too. Hold on, we're going to have Goonie follow it up. The Ice Path, going to follow the Split Earth. There's the Dual Breath actually and the Ice Path. So they get some damage done. The counter initiation was there. But yeah, the duration on it going from 1 second on up, you're going to focus that. Or excuse me, Dual Breath is what I meant. The movement's slow, and the duration on Dual Breath remain the same with just 1 point. So, yeah, that was totally my bad, by the way. Just completely had one of those moments where I would confuse the spell names in my head for whatever reason. But, Dual Breath, you only really need 1 point into. So then you can focus Ice Path after that. So once you're level 2, level 3, you feel just like a Jakiro always does. But now you can just lead off with Dual Breath. And don't worry about the open wounds. In that case, the engagement we just saw, Universe did lead with open wounds, but that's because Slarter has to come into melee. Slaughter has to come up to try and last it. So they can lead with that anytime they want because of that. There's the sprint, and Universe going to slow down I'm a Sheep. There's the stun and the Slithering Crush to follow it up. Let's see if they got the damage. Fog gets off the dual breath. They're going to be able to get first blood as Fog drops. And Slice'll locking it down. He's going to continue to try and force this fight. Universe with no points into Rage, really hurting him there. They got 1 kill apiece. Visage dropping on the side of TM. He has Rage there. I think they get the first blood. Nonetheless, 1-for-1 exchange. Slight lead, though. Going the way of typical mistakes. Naga Siren out of mid, doing a good job. She's at 19. Basically, one-on-one with Sneaking. Sneaking is going to be 6 soon, though. And that's when it gets really tough to cope with that Storm Spirit. He can just play so much more aggressive. Aoi up here at top. He's got 14 CS against the 15 to Darkseer. That's actually pretty good. Darkseer is a little problematic for a Druid, but not the end of the world. I mean, he can do annoying stuff like that. Does damage to the bear, gets up front. Can CS pretty easily. Can start to cut creeps at one point or another. But staying right on par with him. Really good for both heroes. A little bit of a lead going his way there. 15 CS against the 8 of Slaughter, though. And just the fact that, I mean, even though they gave up first blood, they got the return kill. The fact that Universe is doing better than Slaughter is here in CS, and granted it is very early. I mean, they're both very close in level, so there's not a whole lot of separation in terms of experience. But this is already doing its job. Slaughter, a Lifestealer can bounce back a lot easier than a Slaughter can. So even if Universe sacrifices his early game just to slow down Slaughter's, if he comes out ahead, that's a gigantic win. Because he can duck into the jungle very easily at any given point. LS, by virtue of his skill set, doesn't need a big item like a Blink Dagger that just kind of doesn't fit into the build otherwise. And, you know, I've seen Slaughter skip Blink Daggers. It just never tends to work out that well. They're always trying to initiate. They have to pop Sprint, but then if they get stunned, it's like, okay, they get their BKB, and that's nice, but it basically it limits what they can do in a fight. Because they have to BKB, then sprint in, and hope they don't get stunned, or hope that the enemy team doesn't have anything that goes through BKB. Because if they do, then he's just locked down and he's taking bonus damage. And Cake's actually dodging a root. This bear catches him. Yeah, if he got rooted there, he's dead. So, good luck there. Ice Pass shot, missed everything. And wow, they're going to counter-initiate. Universe going in on Slice'll. There's the Crush, and one good shot from the Visage puts another kill on the board. They'll get Slice'll. 1-for-1, support for support. And they may chase Fog down. Lifestealer, not done. Gonna chase the Visage out and gonna Rage through the Crush. Wow. Dive much, Universe. Dive more, son. Gets the kill. Can he get away? Fog, beautifully placed Ice Path. Tell you what that was. That's your buddy bailing you out there. No doubt about it. Universe wanted that kill, got greedy, and dove like hell. And just very fortunate he had a Jakiro back around the corner to Ice Path and allow him to get away. So we're at 2-3. Dignitas is winning this tri-lane now. And on the back of the CS alone really was. Again, the kills matter, but in this situation, Slaughter's just hurting so badly for gold. Wand, Brown Boots, and now getting zoned out. Already the Phase Boots up on Universe. So he's doing good damage. Up here at top, we can see a little bit of movement. Slice'll made his way up, but Storm getting an invis room. Yeah, I was going to say this is bad news. This is real bad news for this bottom lane. And wow. Not sure how that happened. Yeah, Snake's just like, oh, okay. Never mind. I'll go use this elsewhere. Look back, and Slaughter was just way out of position. Way out of position. Playing way too far forward with no supporting cast. And Ryu now beginning to feel the wrath of Sneaking. Still doing a great job. Ryu's a pretty solid mid. I enjoy watching him play, but he's going to have help coming with way too now. And he's going to jump up. Split Earth will follow. And actually, he missed it. He missed it. Whiffed on it. He may end up dead because of it. And way too heading north. Is he going to get away? Surely not. Ryu gets a kill. He dove a little hard to get it. And Jakiro should up. There's a stun from the Venge. Ryu's right there and snares him. And juked out the dual breath. Has to take the long road home. Waitu actually survived that somehow. And they see him. They're pinging him. Universe thought about heading that way. Going to try to TP away. And well done. All that can be said there. Just well done.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But yeah, that was just a misplay by Wei-Tu. Flat out misplay. Timed it well, but did not hit the split earth, and everything fell apart from there. So he ended up not dying, though. That's the amazing thing. Typical mistakes, trailing Dignitas 3-4. 7 kills in an 8.5-minute game. Take a look at the gold. Very, very close affair. Dignitas is ahead, but only slightly. The experience, 1,500 to their favor as well. But again, the fact that the Druid is doing so well, this, like, when you look at the pure out-and-out gold, you go, well, it's close. But it's actually really bad news right now. And right here's why. Lifestealer infesting in the sneaking. He's got an invis. He's going to go head hunting. He's going to spot 2 supports here. They may get them both. And they're just going to go straight for Slice'll. Visage sitting in the woods. And Universe will be able to get him now. There's Goody. Ready to re-engage. Lifestealer, excuse me. The Leshrac is there. Lifestealer stunned out. Dual Breath is there. Following it up, here's the TP reaction. They managed to bring one down. Goody's just being kited to death. Nice crush, though. Ice Path caught 2. And Fog helping to turn this fight around. They ended up losing the Lesh. Ryu's there. And still pursuing this out. And Fog's at full health. I'm surprised he's not just turning around here. There's the Ensnare. Slice'll rejoins the fight. Ice Path will catch Ryu. There's a stun. He's got help coming. Universe looks to re-engage. He's got amplified damage on. Vortex grabbing the Venge. Ryu actually pops at it. They gonna stand here? Bottling up. Yep, they're waiting on Visage. And the Ice Path goes. Actually split the wickets. Didn't catch anyone. Ryu being pursued as it was raged through by the LS. Sneaking wants to get out. And Universe now in no man's land needs to find a way back home as well. The whole time this is going on, though, Aoi just farming away. Just farming away. That's what I was going to say before that fight broke out. Is that, you know, outside of Slarder being slowed down, which he has been, still sitting on brown boots and an urn. Still sitting on nothing, basically. Sitting at 28 CS. Lowest of all the farmers. Only the supports have less than him. Other than him being slowed down, Aoi's been freed up. And this is why you run offensive tri-lanes with the Druid on your team. This is exactly why you want to do it. Because if he can get off to a good start, good levels, good gold. I mean, Midas already up on the bear. So he's got Midas. He's got Midas phase on the bear now. And another 600 gold already. Aoi can do whatever the hell he pleases. Probably rush a Radiance at this point. Well, I mean, you can't. It's tough to say you're rushing a Radiance when you get a Midas first. But that Midas came out, has been used at least once, so was out at 8 or 9 minutes. Very good timing for that. And really, Dignitas, what they can afford to do now with their 2 carries so far ahead and with such an aggressive mid and sneaking, they can just play aggressive. Like, they can just say, okay, let's just go yeah, see? Smoking up. They're just going to go in the jungle. I love it whenever I say something that turns out to be right. They could just do this endlessly and free the map up. Because Slarder's in no shape to fight. And the Lifestealer's actually in a creep. And here we go. There's the Visage. Going to be Vortex back. Here comes help. Darkseer's there along with Venge. Scream's there. Rage raging through it. Ice Path and the Vacuum into it. They do end up losing one, but Rage on Universe, allowing him to tank through some of it. Ryu did react and using that great start in mid to help turn that fight. Dignitas ends up giving 3 away. And Sneaking will be able to get away, should. It doesn't have the biggest mana pool at the moment. Ensnare, and then he jumps again. Now he will be forced back. But again, even though that didn't go that well, Aoi nonetheless at top, pushing through, split pushing, getting his farm. So even when they lose, they're winning right now. And that's what I was kind of referring to. Is they can play aggressive. That wasn't the best exchange for them. But look, it doesn't matter. The gold at best leveled out. So it broke even because Aoi's doing so well. The experience a little bit of a different story. But Slarder forced back off by the LS. Amplify damage is actually such a strong ability on a single target. The armor reduction is just kind of silly, reducing 20 armor at level 3. 8-8. Typical mistakes is going toe-to-toe with Dignitas. It's still a close game. But if you're typical mistakes, you have to feel some urgency. You have to be really worried about where Slarder is with himself right now. He's getting by on the strength of his skill set at the moment. But that's not going to last forever. Amplify damage on the Lifestealer is extremely potent. And they're getting a lot out of that right now. This Druid just going to get bigger and bigger. Aoi Up to 1,800 gold. We'll have his relic up in 2,000 if that is indeed what he's going for. I would imagine it would be. Although Owie does like the Maelstrom build. And even with the armlet not necessarily being viable the way it was before, he could still go Maelstrom. But at this point, given his start, I don't see why you wouldn't get a Radiance. I don't see it. And Radiance actually got a buff, too. An extra 5 damage a second. Universe. Continuing to be zoned out fairly effectively. He's down to -4 armor every time he has that cast on him. And that's really, you know, and that's something maybe we'll see Slarder's picked for. Again, the problem with Slarder is not his skill set. His skill set's fine. Sprint, again, kind of a double-edged sword. But the problem with Slarder, there's a TP reaction following the Song of the Siren. And both teams converging. Big fight incoming. Waitu can't get anything off. He's blown up. That's going to force Dignitas out immediately. Good swap as Universe is brought back. Ice Path caught too, though. Now Storm going to re-engage. Schleisel's down. Sneaking wants the fight. Down goes the wall. And the Macro Pyre, they got to run through it. Sneaking has a passenger. Lifestealer inside, ready to infest out at any given point. Ice Path again, catches one. I Am a Sheep actually caught two. I Am a Sheep and Cakes. And they're going to re-engage as they turn to run. Ryu caught out. Great target. Vacuum's there, but Ryu not going to survive. Ice Path again catches I Am a Sheep. Actually caught two again. Visage gets the kill on Leshrac on the high ground. 2 for 2 in that fight. 11 for 11 on the scoreboard. They got the Naga and the Visage, lost the Lesh and the Sneaking. And the Sneaking and the Storm Spirit. All in all, a decent trade. For both sides, really. And Dignitas not looking like they're super comfortable pushing in right now. So TM continuing to play this high and tight. And Goody's actually going to go ahead and grab a Bracer and look to get a set of drums. So, very possible. He's looking to just take the... I mean, there are a lot of life stealers even who take that approach. Just build straight up drums, Sanjin Yashin, and Phase. He doesn't have Phase. He did pick up a Belt of Strength. So one would think treads. Bear's actually going to be smashed down. 300 gold. Can't be doing that anymore, man. Bad enough when it was 100 gold. You just gave 300 gold away. That's basically giving away a kill.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Sneaking has an invis. It's going to be moving back. Glyph was used by Dignitas. Let's see. TP's coming. Sneaking's right there. Who are they going to grab? There's the Infest. Or the Rage. They're going to grab Cakes. Split Earth was there, but Sneaking knocked out of things. And another good vacuum. TM's taking good fights. Ensnare on Waitu. He's blown up. 3-man Ice Path, though. Dual Breath to follow it. Macro Pyre as well. And there's Fog being that beast on the THD. The Bear's still there to do damage. Let's see if they can clean any of this up. Owie on Slice'll. Looking for a root. 3 swipes. Still no root. They still managed to get him. 2 for 1, though, as Dignitas gives up 2 to get just the 1. And TM is making this work. Lifestealer going to reinfest out. Fog making a run for it. Beats the Earn Charge. Dual Breath going to connect. Now he's going to rage in, look for a target. Gets one with I Am a Sheep. Ryu now going to use Mirror Image to try and get away. Way too sexy. Back up and fighting. Ice Path is there. He just can't take any damage. 2 down now for typical mistakes, and they're going to reinitiate his Sneaking's ready to go again. Goody going to be caught out. Fog with next to no health. Great. Ice Path and Cakes cleaned up. And still pursuing out the Slarder. See the pings. That sprint duration at about half. He's going to double back, actually, and hook up with Ryu. These two need to be vacating the premises. There's a Storm Spirit. Speaking of Storm Spirit, he's going to engage on the Slice'll in mid, jumping ahead of him and getting blown up with a magic missile. He may get... Oh, nice swap, Slice'll. Bringing him back. They do get the kill. Slice'll does survive, though. He actually ends up dying nonetheless. And hot and heavy action. We're right where we were just a moment ago. About a 2-minute fight. But the end result is the tier 1 does drop, going the way of TM, and the kills remain even at 16 to 16. The gold taking a turn northward and moving towards typical mistakes. The experience right around 2,000 as well. And Dignitas being given all their worth. Owie did pick up his relic amidst all the chaos. Now just needs the recipe. Dignitas, or Universe, excuse me, grabbing his armlet, so he's beginning to fill out his inventory. Where you at, Slarder? He's going straight BKB. He is going pure movement. He's got a Bracer. He's going to have his treads. And it looks like he's actually not even going to buy drums. I thought that Bracer would be the precursor to drums instead of just using it to tank up.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So Slardar going to be skipping the mobility items. And I hope it works out for him. You know, that's not to say I'm rooting against Dignitas. It's just, I've seen it time and time again. Slardar is not the most common pick, but I've seen him played about half a dozen times, if not more. And the times he doesn't get a mobility item, he begins to become such a liability in the mid game. We're just into the early phases of the mid game now, only 18 minutes in. And these teams playing a tight one. Sneaking and looking for a target. Wise to pull back. In mid, we've got two ready to push this mid tower. This mid tower should drop. Yeah, no reason to glyph it. They're just going to try to trade. No glyph for Dignitas either, so they'll trade 1 for 1. Hero getting back in position to defend the tier 2.
Dire's bottom tower
and let's see if they want to continue. Yeah, they do. They're feeling confident. Feeling like they're in great shape to fight this out. And Dignitas is spread out. They're nowhere near there. Caught with their pants down. Looks like they want to trade tier 2 for tier 2. They're going to get there so late. And poor Fog, the only one who's here trying to do anything about this. Yeah, the tower hasn't taken a single point of damage. They're going to be able to TP back and save this and maybe take a fight. Cake's right on the periphery here. Might go for a vacuum. And wow, they're just going to hoof it. I mean, catching up with them would have been tough, but still. Now they're going to slowly come back.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Ryu under cover of smoke. Was looking to find himself a target, I do believe. But for right now, a nice exchange, and they're not done. They're still smoking through. 1,000 gold. Moving in their direction. Or 1,000 gold moving in Dignitas' direction, except it's moving towards the Meridian. And Typical Mistakes is really doing a great job here. And the fact that Alway has been largely uninhibited this game, he's going to be level 16 before long. And they're still able to do this just as a testament to how well they're playing as a team. And again, this is a very important match for them. These top teams are probably at this point not going to lose to anyone but themselves. They're not going to, you know, at this point, outside of maybe one potential matchup, all these top teams in the top half of the standings in the group stage, chances are they're not going to be losing a whole lot more games between now and playoff time.
Radiant's bottom
So when they play each other, who gets the heads up win there is going to determine a lot in terms of ranking, in terms of seeding, and eventually in terms of who actually makes it into the later stages of the season. And Typical Mistakes, again, right now sitting atop Dignitas by about half a game. And for those who don't know baseball terms, when I say half a game, that's a way to indicate that they're tied in terms of wins, but one team has more losses. And Dignitas has 2 losses, while Typical Mistakes has 1. So that's what I'm trying to put across when I say Dignitas trails by half a game. It means they've lost 1 more game than TM, but they're tied in wins. Gonna spread that out. Gonna share that with our non-North American or South American brothers and sisters. Just in case you're not big baseball fans. I like baseball. Sneaking, trying to bait something out here. Ryu's up front, very close by. And sneaking with a buddy even closer. And he's just going to TP away. Wants to engage on the Slardar. And here we go. Vortexing him out. There's the infest out. And Goody feeds an easy one there. Fogged even getting in on the action with a well-placed ice path. Down in bottom. And I'll tell you what's so smart about this. I think Sneaking sniffed that out. Naga was playing a little too chest out. And with this tier 2 tower down, they know that they got to push through at least 2 creep waves. This next creep wave should be spawning right before they get there. Nope, actually a little later than I thought. This time. And the tier 3 going to be glyphed. Timing was a little off. I was actually going to say it's so smart because they can take the tier 2 without being counter pushed, but Fogged. Going to be blown up. There's a swap, and way too brought in. And really kind of sloppy execution from Dignitas as they came in bit by bit, piece by piece. They are going to get the courier for free. Rather unnecessary, and Naugasley buys them time to retreat. And the strength of that Radiant showing itself right there. Because they got the tier 2 down here. And even though they gave up 2 kills to do it, Ryu now. That return kill on Ryu makes it worthwhile 100%. But they kind of sent their supports home. And they got blown up. But at the same time, they did get the tower, so who am I to judge? 1918, Dignitas gets a swing in their favor. And we'll talk about a swing. That's a big swing. But I think we're already starting to see what I was talking about with Slarder. And he needs mobility. The BKB is going to help. He is level 11, level 2 amplified damage. 14 armor now reduced. Kind of nutso.
Bottom tower has fallen.
But with the Druid and sneaking now, with a Orchid done already. I mean, the Orchid should be on the way right now. And it is. Recipe is right there. Yep, it is. So,
top tower is under attack.
With the Orchid done, he's going to be feeling free to initiate onto the Naga side. She hasn't built magic yet. She's just gone drums. I mean, and really, Naga, I mean, she has been struggling quite a bit to begin with. She started out so well, but has not found her stride at all. Ryu has not added to his inventory in a long time. And that's becoming a factor, because Dignitas is filling out their support team. Even the Lesh getting at least a bracer to tank himself up. But the damage dealers in particular. This bear getting quite large. Maui with 2,400 gold. And the tier 1 still standing atop. Slarder's just taking what farm he can. And I think they managed to just get a free kill on the Visage, standing way too close to the firing line. Only one outer tier tower remaining, that's tier 2. And they may not care. Nope, they are going to go ahead and go for it. Recognizing Slarder's in no man's land. Cannot do that against the Storm Spirit. He has to know better. He just has to. And really, there's not much else you can say about it. He just should know better. Storm Spirit on the map. You cannot just show your face underneath the enemy tower. Unless you have a BKB. Which he did not. He was working on it. Still doesn't have it. He's actually further from it now. Storm will be able to catch you. And with the Lifestealer on the team, he will be bringing a friend.
Top tower has been denied.
So Dignitas gets a fortuitous kill on the Slarder pick. And manages to deny their tower. Again, Ryu, I mean, the net worth, we're still very early on, 25 minutes. But we can already see Aoi has just parlayed that good start he had, due in large part to some effective, if a little bit chaotic, aggressive play out of Dignitas. And sneaking with his Orchid done, already with the Mithril Hammer up, only about 500 gold from the Ogre Club. This is, I mean, TM played it so well. You hate to see it fall apart on the back of 1 or 2 decisions, but that's really what it's looking like is going to happen. They just have not been efficient enough with their time. And this, again, I talked a lot about this. I want to say it was actually the last time I saw typical mistakes play. It was them or Arctic, maybe. But hold that thought is sneaking. S&Y is now done on the Lifestealer. Sneaking, just keeping an eye on Goody. Not going to go for it. But this is where a lot of professional teams will get wins against otherwise good teams who are nonetheless not on that professional level. They just can't grind like a pro team can. Pro teams know how to make the best use of their time. They're extremely gold efficient in terms of both GPM and experience gain. They know how to spread out to stay safe, while at the same time, well, let me rephrase that. They know how to stay close enough to stay safe when they want to play defensive while still spreading out enough to maximize GPM and experience gain. And that's what it feels like TM has really struggled with. And that's in part, of course, due to Dignitas' playstyle. This is how Dignitas allows themselves to get in this position. Play aggressive, make them fight you as 4 and 5, keep them grouped up more often than you are, and you'll naturally pull ahead in golden experience. And they are going to go for it. Sneaking, runs in, grabs cakes. There's the Naga sleep. The Rage, keeping him going through it. Let's see. They're going to try to reinitiate. And there's the Infest immediately. Out comes, or off goes the Aegis. Macro Pyre down. And Sneaking back up. As they bounce back across, they get the Venge. Sneaking bounces to the other side. Ryu being chased down. And will be burned down by the bear. Aoi getting the kill with the Radiance. Naga buys back. Slarder trying to re-engage, but again, remember what I was saying about Slarder? How he just falls apart in the mid-game if he doesn't build mobility? And, I mean, in this situation, it would have been tough to begin with. Storm is traded away for 1, but that's 5 down. They're going to glyph. I don't know that it matters. Venge and Visage are not going to do much by themselves. They really need Naga and Slarder to defend. With no out-of-tier towers remaining, this should be at least 2 sets of racks. I can't imagine it would be less. Mech going to be used. They should be able to rotate the top now. Lifestealer is a little low, but now they're actually going to back.
Middle barracks has fallen.
Gonna back, play it safe. And what was a close game? I mean, look how close it was up till 20 minutes. What a difference 8 minutes can make. 20 minutes, just about even. 20 minutes later, or 8 minutes later. 20,000 gold gained in a game. Just about 20,000. So just over the last 8 minutes, Dignitas has eclipsed that 1,000 gold per minute lead gain mark that I talk so much about. This is just what happens. You give a team like Dignitas too much of an opening, and I really liked what Typical Mistakes was doing. I really did. I liked their draft. The Slarder was fine. It's very situational, very iffy. We saw, though, how effective he was at making Lifestealer feel inconsequential. Amplify damage, making it hard for the LS. Low base armor already on the LS. And then amplify damage on top of it. But they had their opening, and they just lost the grind battle. Lost the efficiency battle. And that's what Dignitas is riding high on now. Roche will be back up in about 2 minutes. Rio with just the Yasha, drums, Trez. Rio, and I'm not laying it necessarily on him as a player, just you run an Naga Siren mid, and you pick Slarder as your other physical damage dealer, your Naga better be getting large. And just has not been the case for it, unfortunately. Binge, still working on a medallion. Couple of bracers taking her up. Medallion is up on the Visage already, believe it or not. And that's bizarre. Getting 2 medallions. KK, whatevs. Darkseer with his 4 staff. He is working on a Scythe of Ice as well. Mechanism up. DS has had probably the best game. Cakes has played pretty well, all things considered. Naga, again, pretty anemic. Slarder, still looking for that BKB. And you hate to see it, because it gave up that goofy death at top, where you're just banging away on a tier 1, knowing there's a Storm Spirit and a Lifestealer on the other team. And since then, he was probably 400 or 500 gold away from it then. He's been hovering right around that for the last 5 straight minutes or so. Leshrak with a Vlad's in his inventory. And Fogged loves to build himself a Scepter. Loves a Scepter on Jakiro. We'll build them frequently. This way too, spotted out there. The gals give a little bit of a twirly-do, just to say howdy. Lone Druid and his bear, large and in charge. Assault Cuirass done, already added a Demon Edge. That bear is going to be crushing for us. 200 damage, and he's going to be hitting fast, and he has a Radiance. It's okay, farm. It's all right, Owie. It's decent. I'm sure you guys will take it. Armlet, Skullbasher, S&Y. About the 3 most core items on the LS.
Is under attack.
You'll want an Abyssal someday, but gonna want Roshan now. Sneaking. Just finished his BKB, so BKB and Orchid for him.
His top tower is under attack.
Typical Mistake's gonna need a miracle, because otherwise they're not beating this team. They're just too big. The Druid could just about solo their team if you micro the barrel. That's no joke. Hey, look at the levels. Look how separated they are. Level 19 for the Druid, level 15. He is now the highest leveled hero on the board by 5. That's rough. That's rough going, man. Naga Sleep. Still just level 2. So not on the ultra quick 60-second cooldown. But nonetheless, gonna make it tough to crack. And, you know, the Typical Mistakes has a pretty decent base defense. A lot of ways for them to get an advantage here. Still, Goody, no mobility. This is not a factor in this fight. He's gonna have to be a factor this time. Has to be. And Tower now under assault. Look how quick. Chunk, chunk, chunk. Nothing they can do. And snaring the bear down. I'm surprised that. Yeah, they should. Yeah, just initiate off this. They're gonna catch Goody. There's the Ice Path to follow it up. Vacuum into the wall. Not bad. Goody. Eating damage, Universe, raging through the Naga Sleep. Now it wears off. They're going to try and make something happen here, but yeah, I mean, what can you do? Slarder again, a total non-factor. Sneaking, going to go ahead and jump on Ryu. Ryu going to mirror image away. Ice Path just off the mark. Universe is on him, and Sneaking grabs the Vortex anyway. Rest of the team being cleaned up behind. Ryu joins Goody as the 2 most recent deaths. Buyback and a vacuum on Fog. We'll eat the open wounds, and Universe just gonna go for it. That's 5 down. That'll be your GG.
Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
So Typical Mistakes made a game of it, man. And I'll tell you, it actually... Look at that. Look how close this game was played. All the way up to about 20 minutes. then a couple of mistakes, the fact that they really weren't making the best use of their time, and again, that's both a mistake from them and a credit to Dignitas. Then just an absolute nosedive. That gold graph and experience graph cratering south of 2,500. And, you know, it's one of those games that, looking at the score, like the final tallies just do not give you an indication of how close that game actually was. Still, a very impressive 33-minute win for Dignitas. And that's just what a pro team will do to you, man. And I just want to applaud Typical Mistakes for playing as well as they did. They deserve to be in the top of the standings. They showed it right here. And all of these teams still have a ways to go before they're on the level of the top three. But Typical Mistakes, a little bit ahead of the curve there as well. Official game time, 33 minutes, 12 seconds. Final kill score, 19-34. Thanks for joining us here on the ADL, guys. Hope everyone's enjoying their Saturday. And I'm not gonna lie, I'll be totally honest. Saturday cast, looking forward to it. Not last week, not this week. Looking at it's like, I could have Saturday off. Yeah, but you know, let's do the ADL. You know, let's do some Dota. You know, and it's rare that you get that way. You know, you work all week, cast all week. You know, this is supposed to be my day off. I mean, hell, tomorrow I've got 2 best of 3s for the D2L. But coming in, office is totally empty. Just me. Me and a couple cases of Monster Energy. Got the windows open, looking out over beautiful San Francisco, and spending time with some of my best friends, you guys. So I'm having a good day. And no matter what corner of the globe you happen to call home, whether it's morning, evening, or afternoon, I hope you guys are enjoying your time here as well. And thank you for being a part of the broadcast and for helping to support the ADL and the development of the Dota scene in North and South America. That's our 3rd game down. Originally, we had 8 games scheduled. I'm not sure if one got moved or canceled or what. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm looking at the schedule on the ADL website, but you can catch it at AmericanDotaLeague.com, by the way. And they only have 7 showing. So I don't know if we have only 7 or if we do indeed have 8. Nonetheless, we're roughly at the halfway point. And we're actually about an hour out from our next scheduled match, which will be Dignitas versus Smeagol. And I don't know if we're going to start early like we did with this game or if we're going to take that one right on time. Nonetheless, hope you guys will either wait through or if you got to bail, that's fine, bail, but just make sure you're back sometime in the very near future. Once again, Dignitas gets past Typical Mistakes in a thrilling 30-minute game that got out of hand in a hurry after being so close for so long. Our 4th game of the day, Dignitas versus Smeagol, coming up next. Stick with us, guys. We'll be right back.
What?